Hello everyone, I'm so honored to be speaking here today, even in this weird virtual world that we're living in. My name is Natalie DuFour. I am a 17-year-old senior from Franklin County High School, and I am the co-lead of the Frankfort Youth Climate Strike chapter and the state co-logistics director for the state chapter. Our lives have been turned upside down in a very short period of time. My junior year in high school was cut short, and my senior year is now virtual. Sports are not the same, and extracurriculars are non-existent. But I'm lucky. My life has changed, and I'm missing out on my last year in high school, but my dad still has his job. My family isn't being evicted. We have enough food to eat. No one in my family has tested positive for COVID, and no one I know has died. I can't say the same for other families. I want to say I'm sorry to all of you who have lost someone. And I want to say I'm sorry to those of you who are struggling to get by, to those of you who have been threatened with eviction, to those of you impacted by the virus in any way. We have failed you. The government has failed you by not taking COVID seriously from the very beginning. Your fellow citizens have failed you by not adhering to the simple mask wearing and social distancing guidelines. However, now is the chance to right that wrong. We can do our part to protect our fellow citizens, friends, and family. And that starts now. We no longer have the time to wait around, or this pandemic is going to last even longer. I know that I want to be able to walk across the stage at graduation. And if we don't start taking this seriously, that might not happen. However, in the midst of this crisis, we cannot forget about the larger crisis that has been looming over us for decades that we failed to act on, the climate crisis. Some may say that we can't focus on two crises at once because COVID-19 is affecting us now while the climate crisis is not. But that's not true, because the climate crisis is affecting us now. It's affecting the polar bears. It's affecting people who live in places where sea levels are rising. And it's going to affect us even more in the future if we don't start doing something right now. We also can't ignore them because COVID-19 and the climate crisis are not isolated from each other. They are completely and irrevocably interconnected. This virus jumped species. Something that has almost never had such a deadly effect. You may ask, why did it do that? I'll tell you why. We created COVID-19 by disrupting the natural world. We cannot continue to tear down the world around us without expecting some sort of consequences. If we continue violence against the earth will rebel. Now, let me back up for a minute. This summer has not only been weird and different because of COVID. This summer has seen the rise of a movement, the movement for Black lives. However, I believe that COVID truly gave the movement space to occur. I remember at the beginning of quarantine, we all had time for self-reflection and self-evaluation. And during that time, we realized that we didn't like what we saw in our society. We didn't like what was going on in the world around us. And with the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, it pushed us all over the edge. It was time for change. And this movement, it created the change that we need. This is the change that we need. Well, I am not a person of color, and I cannot understand what people of color are going through. I stand with them. I stand with those who have been exploited since the beginning of this nation. The Middle Passage, the 3/5 Compromise, slavery, Jim Crow, poll tax, segregation. What do those mean to you? To me, that is the basest exploitation of Black men, women, and children. And it's time for a change. At this point, you're probably wondering what my point is. I'm supposed to be here talking about climate change, but I'll tell you. If you don't remember anything I say the rest of the time, just listen to me now, please. Climate justice is racial justice. and racial justice is a just COVID relief. These issues are so systemic that we can't tackle one without the other. We have created a system where Blacks are exploited, underpaid, and not given access to healthcare and treated as underdogs. A system where Blacks are most affected by climate change, pollution, and rising sea levels because we, the white people, didn't give them a chance. A system where we keep poisoning our planet, destroying it, and stripping it bare of anything we can use without more than a second thought. A system where those with money, power, and a certain skin color have more access to COVID relief and testing. A system in which low-wage essential workers are forced to go to work during a pandemic because they have to, while others have the privilege to work from home. A system where Black Americans die of COVID at double the rate of white Americans, and we do nothing about it. It all comes down to privilege. We are so privileged, and we don't realize it. I'm asking each and every one of you to do something for me. Close your eyes or just listen, and keep count on your fingers or on a piece of paper. Put down a mark if you have a roof over your head every night. Put down a mark if you have a family that is together. Put down a mark if you don't have to worry about where your next meal will come from. Put down a mark if you can find Band-Aids the same color as your skin at a drugstore. Put down a mark if you don't have a health problem or disability. Put down a mark if you haven't been affected by COVID. Put down a mark if your family has always had health insurance. Put down a mark if work and school holidays coincide with your religious holidays. Put down a mark if you studied the culture or history of your ancestors in elementary school. Put down a mark if you or your family inherited money or property. If you came from a supportive family environment. If there were more than 50 books in your house when you grew up. If you always felt safe walking alone at night. If you are a white male. If you have a car. If you could stay at home during the pandemic. If you have never been targeted for your race, gender, or sexual orientation. If you throw away food when you're done with it. If you, your parents, and grandparents have always been able to vote. If you aren't afraid of policemen. If you aren't stereotyped for who you are or something you believe in. I could go on, but just look. Look at the amount of privilege we all live in. Some people might not have put down any of those marks. Some of us are so lucky. There's opportunity just lying there, waiting for us to pick it up. But for some people, it's not that way. For some of us, it's hard. You know, we talk of the American dream. And I believe that it's still there. But in order to rise up from the bottom, it's hard. Because this country is not fair and was never created fairly. Black men did not have the right to vote until the 15th Amendment. Women did not have the right to vote until the 19th Amendment. And then there were still poll taxes, barring Black men and women from voting, and the grandfather clause. It's our civic responsibility, it's our civic right to be able to vote, and yet that has been taken from us so many times. The cards are stacked against some of us, and it's time for that to change. I'm asking you to rise up with me, rise up for a better future. Now, it seems overwhelming to confront all of these issues head on, but we have to. That's the only way we can start to fix the damage we've created. Because we are the only ones who can fix it. And it's time to start now. First, simple. Just wear a mask. If we want to get through COVID, we have to get through COVID together. Confront racial injustice in your own communities. Don't stand for inequality. You know, it's not enough to just be not racist. You have to actively be anti-racist. Have those conversations with others. Spread the truth. Spread what's really going on. Finally, the main issue, the one that I keep skipping over, climate change. We're the ones who've created this crisis. We've exploited the earth. We've taken everything we wanted, needed, or even stuff we didn't want, and we've left the earth to die, practically. The biggest cause of climate change is fossil fuels. We have to turn away from fossil fuels, and we have to turn away now. There's not much time left. Second, fast fashion. Trends changing every month. Like, just wear hand-me-downs. Go get, like, reused clothes. And then animal waste, you know, and also conventional farming. So many, like, buy from organic farmers. That's something you can do right now to help our planet. Those people who understand what the earth gives us and who treat it fairly. I'm just asking you, please keep the planet in mind. It sustains us and it gives us life. We are only alive today because of the earth. And in turn, we have to give the earth the respect it deserves because it's dying. And if our planet dies, we die too. You know, we call it Mother Earth for a reason. I'll leave you with this. Never stop fighting for what you believe in. We can make a change if we work hard enough for it. I believe that our society can be just and equal, and I hope you do too. We can accomplish great things if we stand together. I believe we can. Will you stand with me? Thank you.